Right now on News 3 this morning, Saturday football returns to Camp Randall for the first Saturday game of the season. What Coach Chris expects as the Badgers and New Mexico, both coming off of hot starts, take the field. Plus, players and their families in Reedsburg are waking up after an emotional evening under the Friday night lights, playing for the first time after helping their community clean up from those devastating floods. And riders in a summer-long cross-country motorcycle tour will cross their finish line later today as Ironman participants prepare for their own big race. Your news starts right now.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It's September 8th. I'm Keely Arthur in with meteorologist Chris Reese. And Chris, it's starting to be a very beautiful day out there.
That's right. We've had the cloud cover around, but we're going to shape up for a pretty spectacular Saturday afternoon as we go through the rest of the day. Still seeing some clouds, yes, but nonetheless, it is not raining, so it could always be worse if you're kind of upset that the actual sun is not radiating just yet. We'll get some sunshine later on. The temperature 58 degrees here in Madison right now. All of us are into the upper 50s at this point. Some 60s are showing up. That's mainly along the lakeshore, Kenosha and Milwaukee at 64 and 65. Marshfield still at 48 at this hour, but the 40s and 50s is the theme that we are seeing across the upper Midwest. Warmer over the Ohio Valley. That is where they are seeing heavy rainfall from the remnant of Gordon this morning. That rain will stay to our south, but we will still at least see some cloud cover associated with it. Temperatures will top out right around 69 this afternoon, and of course staying through the 60s into the early evening before we fall into the 40s for overnight lows tonight. As far as traffic, it's 8 o'clock on your Saturday. If you are headed out, maybe over to the farmers market, so far no major delays or anything are showing up across Dane County. A few brake lights over Deer Stoughton Road and the Beltline, but of course there are stop lights there, which would explain for that. Otherwise, across Dane County, things are looking great this morning.
I imagine maybe some game day traffic in a few hours.
Some game day traffic will be there, and of course they're doing all of that construction by Camp Randall, so you will want to make sure you give yourself some extra time for that.
Great advice. Thanks so much, Chris. Well, we're just hours away from kickoff, and it's an early one for the Badgers with an 11 a.m. start against New Mexico at Camp Randall. It's the first meeting ever between those two teams who are coming off of resounding first week victories. Number 5, Wisconsin is a massive favorite, especially now that Xander Newville and Isaiah Loudermilk are back from injury. But how much time will they actually spend on the field? Well, there's no set snap count or anything, according to Coach Paul Christ. It's more of a let's see how this goes situation.
Never been one, whether it's how many carries does a back get or, how many plays does this guy get. I think you got to be smart. You got to understand that, where they're at and where they're coming from, and yet I think there is something to it. We'd never put a guy out there that could damage it more, so there's nothing like that.
The recent flooding didn't stop area high school teams from taking to the field last night. After the community suffered a week's worth of setbacks, the Reedsburg football team was back under the Friday night lights. School was canceled for the district all week. Instead of practicing, players spent time filling sandbags. Football player Jonathan Zobel says it was never a question of whether he and his teammates would help out.
Coach put out a message, and sometimes the players would even come before that. They had a sand out in the parking lot at the high school, so I think we had fun doing that, doing sandbagging, hauling it to people that need it, and just helping out the community.
The Beavers went on to beat the Sauk Prairie Eagles last night 9-7. While the rain has stopped for the time being, flooding remains a major concern for many communities across the state. In Madison, Mayor Paul Soglin says flooding and high lake levels could be an ongoing problem through the next spring. Soglin says area lakes are still several inches above the 100-year flood level and could remain that way for weeks. If you have sandbags protecting your property, it's recommended you keep them in place. And heading into this weekend, the city of Madison has closed the boat launches at 3 separate locations. Those are Old Brick Park, Law Park, and Olin Park. The launches will remain closed until further notice. Free overnight parking in Madison city-owned parking garages has been extended through next Friday, while flood emergency parking is in effect. There is no fee to park in cashiered sections of the garages from 9 p.m. until 7 a.m. Vehicles parked before or after that will be charged the hourly rate. The United Way of Dane County is assisting those affected by heavy rains and flooding in the area. Last month's historic rains significantly damaged communities like Mazomanie and Cross Plains. The organization has announced the United Way Flood Relief Fund. The United Way will accept donations and help banks and businesses that have been contributing to relief funds disperse the money.
And it's like, okay, so we raised the funds and now what? And that's where United Way can come in to help. That's what we do. That's where our expertise is. And so it's wonderful in a way to be able to be there at a time of very visible need.
The funds will be used to meet the needs of the community, like home and car repairs not covered by insurance. Looking ahead, you can help clean up Pheasant Branch Conservancy in Middleton this weekend. Recent flooding caused around $2.5 million of damage to the green space. If you're interested in helping clean up the area, head to the park around 1 on Sunday. You're asked to bring your own work gloves and wear sturdy shoes. Anyone under the age of 18 will need to have a parent or guardian sign a waiver. New information, a suspect is now in custody following Thursday's shooting on Madison's west side at the Crossings apartment complex. Police tell us the suspect and victim got into an argument which led to the shooting. Officials are not releasing the name of the suspect right now, but the case is being investigated as an attempted homicide. The victim, a 19-year-old, was shot in the leg and suffering non-life-threatening injuries. Some shocking video from the northeastern part of the state. State Patrol dash cam video capturing a crash along Interstate 41 at Kaukauna Tuesday night. According to a release, a trooper stopped a Toyota Corolla for a broken headlight. Moments after, the trooper returned to his cruiser, a southbound car crossed the fog line, hitting the Toyota and just missing the trooper's car. The driver of the Corolla was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the Pontiac was not seriously injured, but facing several charges. Like earlier this week, the 115th Fighter Wing of the Wisconsin Air National Guard says it will once again be conducting overnight training near Truex Field. According to a release, the Guard will conduct a late-night launch tonight into tomorrow morning. We have a first alert traffic note for your interstate drive this weekend. As a result of all that flooding, you can expect to see major delays, maybe even some closures along I-90, 94 outside Portage both today and tomorrow. The National Guard is building a nearly mile-long wall of sandbags there where water is expected to crest and possibly spill onto the low-lying stretch of interstate. Crews say 50,000 sandbags will be dedicated to that area alone. Ironman officials continue to monitor the water quality as athletes from around the world prepare to swim 2 miles in Lake Monona tomorrow. The bike routes in and out of Madison have already been slightly altered to work around flooding issues. The event means a number of road closures and detours to work around this weekend. The roads outlined in black on this map will be closed from noon until midnight tomorrow. The blue and red lines are routes you can take around those closures that run from the Capitol Square west all the way to Campus Drive off University Avenue. Metro Transit will also be detoured in some areas. You can find that information and a copy of the map on the city's website. A 110-day cross-country motorcycle tour is crossing the finish line this weekend. The Patriot Tour started in Beaver Dam back in May, and since then, riders have carried the American flag through all 48 continental states. It's all to raise money for wounded veterans and their families. Today, 500 riders will make their final flag exchange and parade downtown Beaver Dam at noon. After that, they'll have a homecoming celebration at Swan Park. The Nation of Patriots has raised about $200,000 so far. An event aimed at helping the homeless in Rock County is moving locations this year to accommodate all of the people who want to participate. Tom Hathaway, known as Tom the Awesome Mailman, has hosted the event in his backyard for 5 years now. The Janesville Gazette reports he got more interest by talking to people along his route. This year, it's up to 200 people, too many to have crammed into his backyard. It will now be at the Rock County 4-H Fairgrounds in Janesville today from noon to 7. Tom told the paper he's raised about $26,000 for area shelters and nonprofits that help the homeless. If you're operating on a vegan diet and feel a little left out by Madison's many food festivals, this one is for you. Madison College is hosting Vegan Fest this weekend. It's expected to attract around 3,000 visitors with vegan food, speakers, and cooking demos. They'll have everything from sandwiches, sweets, to tacos and pizza. That's today from 10 to 5. We'll have a preview of the event and even more events happening this weekend coming up in our second half hour during the weekend 608. Cooler temperatures and no rain in the forecast for this event-filled weekend in Madison. You're having a live look of the Capitol this Saturday morning. Chris has your farmers market forecast and a preview of what you can expect for tomorrow's Ironman event next, right here on News 3 This Morning, Saturday. And there are several shows and movies you should find time for this weekend. Will's in next with 3 things to watch. That's just ahead.
Good morning to all of you out there. We continue to see some clouds around in the sky, but nonetheless, it is not too terrible of a day out here. A little bit cool as you step outside, actually feeling like fall. And with the clouds around, it's going to be hard to get out of the 60s today. So we're going to go with the high of 69. That's about 6 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. The temperature 58 right now. Winds coming out of the northeast at 12 miles per hour. Now all the rain associated with this cloud cover, that's well to our south across portions of central and northern Illinois. What you have is the remnants of Gordon working its way into the Ohio Valley, bringing a lot of rain for them. They will even have a flash flood threat. So we are thankful that that is staying far to our south. The region of high pressure to our north and east will keep the cool weather around as we go through the rest of the weekend before beginning to relax a little bit and allowing temperatures to warm up some. But as we go through the noontime hour, we'll see temperatures making it into the 60s at that point, likely topping out into the upper 60s with some sunshine this afternoon. Clearing skies tonight. That's going to lead to a cool tomorrow. We'll likely see those morning lows right around 49 degrees. So if you're headed out to Camp Randall this afternoon, kickoff temperatures will be right around 65. We'll see 69 as we get you into the fifth quarter. And while we enjoy the quiet weather, we're going to be watching the East Coast as they could be bracing for the potential hit from a major Hurricane Florence. All eyes will certainly be turned on, and of course we'll have to watch just how fast she strengthens. But over the past 30 years, we've really seen an increase in those strong, rapid intensifying hurricanes. So highs this afternoon right around 69 degrees. Now as we head into tonight, of course we will cool down into the upper 40s, so it will be chilly. Now going through the next 7 to 10 days, we'll keep the sunshine around. No rain chances there, but temperatures in the 70s initially, reaching 80 degrees as we get you by Wednesday. Now as we get you towards Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, temperatures will reach the mid 80s, and a rain chance does come back towards next Monday and into Tuesday.
All right, well, looks pretty good. Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
In entertainment news, Frank Underwood is officially dead. Netflix released the trailer for season 6 of House of Cards. Fans have been waiting to see Underwood's fate after star Kevin Spacey was fired amid sexual harassment allegations last year. The final season becomes available November 2nd. The new animated film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse will swing into New York Comic-Con next month. There are multiple Spider people in alternate dimensions of the Spider-Verse, including the main character voiced by Shameik Moore. A washed-up Peter Parker mentors the young superhero. The movie opens in December. With temperatures only in the low 70s and the Labor Day holiday weekend behind us, it's starting to feel like fall. Our Will Loper has some picks for the perfect afternoon indoors and this weekend's 3 things to watch.
A television program for children made its unauspicious debut on station WQED in Pittsburgh. Its host, Fred Rogers.
New on home video this week is Won't You Be My Neighbor?
You take all of the elements that make good television and do the exact opposite. You have Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Low production values, simple set, unlikely star. Yet, it worked.
The film explores the life and career of Mr. Rogers.
He was radical. I know everyone says that, but he was radical.
They didn't want black people to come and swim in their swimming pools. My being on the program was a statement for Fred.
Won't You Be My Neighbor is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Love is at the root of everything. All learning, all relationships, love or the lack of it.
Can't blame me. Try to shame me.
Now available on digital HD is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Do you remember the first time you saw a dinosaur?
Ain't blue.
We don't really believe it. It's like a miracle.
Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard return to the island of dinosaurs to save them before it all blows up.
Blue, come with me. You know you can't stay here.
Jurassic World, the island.
You're all right. Easy, girl.
All of that is in the past.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is available on all digital platforms now.
So you want to go to Stanford?
Yes, I almost got a perfect score on my SATs.
You're a good student. But Sierra, what's your set?
Excuse me?
Sierra Burgess is.
Now streaming on Netflix is the movie Sierra Burgess is a Loser.
I met a guy. We texted. He definitely thinks that I'm someone else.
A girl in high school begins texting a guy, only to find out he thinks she's someone else.
Oh my God.
Oh, like Veronica?
That's what I have to live up to? Of all the phone numbers in the world, he texted mine.
You need to tell him the truth.
They're my words. He's falling for me.
Would you want to go on a date with me?
Yeah. I know you've been failing all your classes. So I think we can help each other. But I do need a favorite.
Sierra Burgess is a Loser is available to stream on Netflix now.
Do you think you could like me?
You are exactly my type. You know the hardest part is allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. And this is Will Loper for News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Hunting and your heart, the potentially dangerous connection between the two. With hunting season just weeks away, why doctors say they're seeing more people coming in with chest pains and symptoms of a heart attack. That story next on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning. The temperature is now 58 degrees, so we are warming up with time. But nonetheless, we still do have some clouds out there, but we are not expecting any rain. So if you are curious about that Badger game forecast, no worries. It'll be in the 60s and it'll be breezy, but no rain should fall from the sky. 69 by the time the game does let out there. Tonight, we will cool down into the lower 40s for those overnight lows. Keely.
Thank you, Chris. The Henry Vilas Zoo says it's planning to bring a new mystery animal to the zoo, and they're asking for the community's help. The zoo's donation website says it's asking the community to make their $30,000 goal a reality so the animal arrives in time for the holidays. To keep it a little fun, the zoo said it will be providing weekly hints to what kind of animal it is. Well, we're just weeks away from deer hunting season, and this morning doctors have a warning for those hunters getting prepared. There's a lot of manual labor involved in getting a deer stand ready. Doctors say as a result, they see new patients come in this time of year with chest pains and even heart attacks. Michael Aaron has the story.
I love to hunt.
Whether it's dove, duck, or deer,
Should be a real good season for deer.
Ivan Wilson loves to hunt it.
A lot of hunters. There's a lot of hunters out. Yeah, it's a favorite pastime.
Bow season for deer starts September 22nd.
We put out different kinds of food blocks.
Which means Wilson is out for hours at a time right now to get his land near Clinton prepared.
But we also had to get out and kind of trim the trees, take the chainsaw and the tree trimmer and trim some shooting lanes and a place to hunt so we can see and make good shots.
It's a lot of work Wilson is used to, but doctors at Arkansas Heart Hospital say it can become dangerous for those who aren't as active.
A lot of patients are living a pretty inactive lifestyle, and then, you know, the weather's getting nice. Patients are starting to go out and exert themselves, do things like putting up deer stands, things like that puts a lot more stress on their body than they're used to.
Dr. Peyton Card says the hospital sees some of those people coming in with heart attacks and other cardiac symptoms.
If you're having any symptoms like chest pain, new shortness of breath, lightheadedness, feeling palpitations, anything like that, don't write it off as, you know, nothing or reflux or anything like that. Go get it checked out.
Because he says getting the kill is not worth losing your own life.
We try to be as safe as possible. I encourage you, if you're not a hunter, to get out and enjoy the outdoors.
Dr. Card suggests hunting in groups. He also says if you're a member of a camp, it's a good idea to have several members get CPR certified. There is much more ahead on News 3 this morning, Saturday. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories, including road closures due to ongoing flooding, plus one of the city's biggest athletic events of the year. And just like students across the area, we're going back to school in this month's Tastemaker segment, the newly renovated coffee shop that'll make you feel like a student again. Stay with us right here on News 3 this morning, Saturday. We're just a day away from the start of a brand new Packers season, and the festivities are starting early, where you can catch some live music, tailgating, and a whole lot of fun along the weekend.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It's September 8th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on the weather with Chris in just a second, but first let's get you caught up on today's headlines. While the rain has stopped for the time being, flooding remains a major concern for many communities across the state. You're having a live look at Monona this morning. Mayor Paul Soglin says flooding and high lake levels could be an ongoing problem into the spring next year. Soglin says area lakes are still several inches above the 100-year flood level and could remain that way for weeks. If you have sandbags protecting your property, it's recommended you keep them in place. Speaking of sandbags, you can expect to see major delays, maybe even some closures along I-90-94 outside Portage both today and tomorrow. The National Guard is building a nearly mile-long wall of sandbags there where water is expected to crest and possibly spill onto low-lying stretches of the interstate. Crews say 50,000 sandbags will be dedicated to this area alone. Ironman officials continue to monitor the water quality as athletes from around the world prepare to swim 2 miles in Lake Monona tomorrow. The bike routes in and out of Madison have already been slightly altered to work around flooding issues. The event means a number of road closures and detours to work around this weekend. The roads outlined in black on this map here will be closed from noon until midnight tomorrow. The blue and red lines are routes you can take around those closures that run from the Capitol Square west all the way to Campus Drive off University Avenue. And a 110-day cross-country motorcycle tour is crossing the finish line this weekend. The Patriot Tour started in Beaver Dam back in May, and since then, riders have carried the American flag through all 48 continental states. It's all to raise money for wounded veterans and their families. Today, 500 riders will make their final flag exchange and parade through downtown Beaver Dam at noon. After that, they'll have a homecoming celebration at Swan Park. The Nation of Patriots has raised about $200,000 so far. And here's your first alert forecast. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Keely. Folks, if you're waking up, it is one of those chillier kind of mornings out there. I mean, it's not too bad, but nonetheless, 58 degrees with a cool breeze coming in. So it feels like fall out there. Those winds are out of the northeast at 12 miles per hour. Temperatures are all in the upper 50s at this point. Well, all in the 50s at least. There are some low 50s showing up across the north, but we have gotten rid of the 40s at this point. The only 40s really showing up are really across the UP of Michigan there in Marquette, and some other temperatures choosing not to populate. 60s down south where the cloud cover was a bit heavier overnight. That is where they are seeing some rain showers right now as the remnants of Gordon move through. We will not be expecting any of those rain showers to come our way, but we'll see the clouds from them. Temperatures reaching the upper 60s as we get you into the peak heating of the afternoon. Some folks will see the low 70s. Traffic-wise, as you head out this morning, it is moving smoothly, so that is fantastic news. No major issues or delays showing up across Madison or Dane County this morning. Keely?
Thanks so much, Chris. Well, just in this morning, a Platteville woman is in custody, charged with driving under the influence and arrested for operating while intoxicated, causing injury. Grant County Dispatch says 28-year-old Paige Rice was driving north on Highway 151 just before 3 this morning when she hit the back of a Grant County cop car. She went into the median where the deputy had to dive out of the way to avoid getting hit. The deputy is in the hospital suffering minor injuries. Well, football is back, and tomorrow night, thousands of fans will be in Titletown for the 7:20 kickoff against the Bears. But the area around Lambeau Field will be busy all weekend long, well before the Packers kick off their season. It's celebration weekend outside Lambeau that includes a concert tonight featuring the Steve Miller Band. There'll be a pre-concert tailgate party starting at 4:30 before the music starts at 7:30 just outside the Oneida Nation Gate at Lambeau. And just like everyone else this weekend, our tastemaker is going back to school. Madison Magazine's Andrea Bailing visited the newly renovated School Grounds Coffee House in Cottage Grove for this month's Tastemaker segment.
Drove by it for 15 years, watched it, and then I saw that it was kind of in a dilapidated state. I made a few inquiries about it and made a proposal to open up an art gallery, of all things. 2.5 years later, we started School Grounds Coffee House, and that was the fall of 2012.
I see, yeah, I did want to talk about that because this is an interesting space where it's part art gallery, part coffee house.
The original idea, because I'm a wood artist and a furniture designer by training, was to put my stuff in here and invite other artists to put their stuff in here and run it as just a sole art gallery function. And over a Thanksgiving dinner, I made a joke with my dad, and I said, "When are you going to come to my gallery?" He said, "Well, I can't come to a gallery unless I can get something to eat."
Oh.
And so I said, "Well, we'll put a cafe in." And so what started as a joke turned into reality.
Oh, how funny. And I want to talk about the cafe part of this as well. We've got some items from your case here. Can you tell me what's on the table here?
Yep, we have some classic items from our bakery case. I should tell you this, that my big sister is the bakery director here. She's the pastry chef. That's Kelly. And she's most famous for her carrot cake here. This is a cream cheese frosting on her carrot cake. We've got a big serving of her nice crumble top coffee cake. People come from miles around to get our scones. These are true buttermilk recipe scones. That happens to be a chocolate chip almond with a nice glaze on it. And then in the green paper over there, we have a crumble top blueberry muffin as well.
Are these some family recipes?
These are some family recipes, yeah.
And you have coffee items, specialty coffee items.
We do have
as well.
specialty coffee items. My son Benjamin is the roast master, so we buy and roast our own beans here. So he's our trainer, roast master, and he can fix you just about anything that you want. We have some really skilled baristas here.
You guys have a unique feature not many coffee shops can say. You have this regular fish boil that I wanted to talk about.
Yep, I grew up in that kind of a culture. I'm kind of from the northern part of the state, and so experienced a lot of true Door County fish boils growing up. Always wanted to do it. People around here talk about it all the time, like, we've got to go all the way to Door County or something like that to get this Great Lakes style or Door County style fish boil. Right. So last year we began with an objective that that's what we were going to do and introduce a sustainable every Friday night program throughout this summer. Our fish come fresh overnight on ice from Bayfield, so they're fresh caught Lake Superior, chunked whitefish the way it's supposed to be. We do our fish boils outside, and then once people are served, they either come in here, they sit outside and linger on the lawn at tables, or they go right out onto the deck and soundstage.
And what do you serve with your fish?
So we'll serve about between 3/4 of a pound and a pound of fresh whitefish, a couple of red-skinned boiler potatoes, a sweet boiler onion with that, our own homemade coleslaw, kind of a marbled rye rustic bread as well, nice little 2-ounce ladle of drawn butter over everything. And then we have a nice dessert that comes at the end. It's an ice cream with a cherry chocolate chip cookie as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting us in today.
Thank you very much.
And you can read more about Andy's column in this month's edition of Madison Magazine on newsstands now. Looking for something to do this weekend? Well, we've got you covered. From one last hurrah for water lovers up in the Dells to a new jazz club filling a void in Madison's music scene, we check out what's happening in and around Madison in our Weekend 608. Stay with us.
Good Saturday. Temperatures right now are still into the upper 50s, but we are also seeing the cloud cover stick around as well. That's keeping a lot of those temperatures at bay. We'll see our temperatures warm up eventually, but of course we do have the Badger forecast coming up. I know a lot of folks want to know what can we expect with the Badgers game coming up this afternoon. I'll have the full update in your forecast coming up here right after the weekend 6:08.
All right, and it is the weekend 6:08.
And here's a look of some of the events happening right now.
Businesses on Willie Street have a new neighbor. Today is the grand opening of Cafe Coda at its new location across the street from the Willie Street Co-op. Cafe Coda is a club dedicated to jazz music in Madison, a style some say isn't heard enough in the city. The cafe opens at noon.
There's a new exhibit at the Overture Center this weekend. 10 regional photographers contributed to the new collection that is featured at the James Watrous Gallery. They come from Milwaukee, Chicago, St. Louis, Dayton, and Iowa City, among other places, and in varying ways depict the life and landscape of the Midwest. Several of the photographers were on hand for last night's grand opening. The new Midwest photography exhibit is on display through the end of October.
One of the biggest athletic events of the fall is happening this Sunday. While nearly 3,000 people compete in the Ironman Wisconsin Triathlon every year, an estimated 30,000 spectators line the course to cheer them on. That's the main reason why Madison won Best Host City honors from participants last year. But those wishing to watch the race should keep in mind that recent flooding downtown has left some road closed, so access could be tricky. The flooding of trails on the course has required rerouting of the first 3 miles and last 3 miles of the bike portion of the race. The swim course on Lake Monona remains unchanged, but officials have worked tirelessly to remove debris and improve water quality.
And if you haven't made it up to the Wisconsin Dells for a little outdoor water park fun yet this summer, you have one more weekend to get it done. Noah's Ark normally ends its season after Labor Day, but this year the park is turning on the hose back on for one more weekend, September 8th and 9th. It's for an Oktoberfest themed party called Arktoberfest. There will be plenty of fun for parents there as well. 12 different local beers will be featured, as well as German themed food and an 18-piece brass band, that is.
Absolutely. And as always, you can pick up a copy of this month's Madison magazine for all the best in and around the Madison area. Well, the relentless wet weather is behind us and a dry weekend is ahead in Madison.
Perfect for people hoping to get to the farmers market. You're looking live over the Capitol this Saturday morning. I'm in next with your full First Alert forecast.
But first, let's take a look at who is 3.
Good morning, folks. It's going to be another one of those below average days in terms of feeling a little bit cooler than it normally does for this time of the year. We'll see highs that are staying out in the upper 60s today, and that's just because some of that cloud cover that we have is being a little pesky. It's not really allowing those temperatures to warm up as warm as we should. So we've been in the 50s all morning long. We have gradually made it to 58 degrees. So we are finally gaining some ground, but winds out of the northeast at 12 miles per hour. That's a cool, dry wind that's moving in. That's going to keep things on the dry side. Now, those clouds across the southern half of the state, that's from the rain that's coming in with the remnants of Gordon moving across the northern Ohio Valley as of now. So the rain will stay to our south, but nonetheless, that's why we're keeping a lot of the pesky cloud cover around. But as this low moves to the north and east, high pressure and control is going to keep things sunny, but it's also going to keep things on the cooler side of the spectrum as well. But eventually that cool air begins to relax a little bit, and we'll see some warming temperatures, especially as we begin to get in towards next week. But let's take you hour by hour through the rest of today. By lunchtime, we'll see temperatures around 66 degrees, 69 for those highs this afternoon. If we can get enough sunshine, some folks will see the low 70s, but without that sunshine, the bets on that are off, and we'll be stuck into the upper 60s. Now, overnight tonight, if we do clear out, lows will likely be falling into the upper 40s. It'll be the first time we have done that since May. So it's one of those times of the year that we begin to transition seasons once again. But if you're going out to the Badger game, 65 degrees at kickoff, 69 by the time we make it to the fifth quarter there, and we are not worried about any rainfall falling out of those clouds. Now, while we do enjoy this nice weather, we are keeping an eye on the tropics as the East Coast could be bracing for the potential impact of a major hurricane. Florence has the possibility of rapidly intensifying, and that's a trend that we have really noticed increase over the past 30 years or so. So those rapidly intensifying hurricanes is a trend as of late with warming sea surface temperatures. 69 degrees this afternoon. Once again, by the time we get you into the overnight and evening hours, we'll see those lows fall into the upper 40s. 70s stick around as we go through Sunday, Monday, and even Tuesday. Tuesday, we'll see those temperatures into the upper 70s. It's 80 degrees by the time we get you towards Wednesday, and those 80s will stick around through next weekend. The next rain chance comes late Monday night and into Tuesday. But if you want to walk your pet, say hello to Emily holding Manny and Middleton with the Green Bay Packers jersey on, going for, that's fitting, as you mentioned earlier, with kickoff coming up for the Packers tomorrow. But we're going to have perfect pet walking weather going through today.
Perfect football weather, perfect pet walking weather, perfect weather.
I'm ready for fall.
Me too.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Chris. Well, we've been asking you to share your morning with us. This is Trevor Jans's photo. He took this, looks like from out of an airplane, aerial view of the Dane County Regional Airport.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful picture there. Makes me want to go up in a plane.
I know. Let's go on vacation. Thanks for sharing, Trevor. What does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it on Channel 3000's Facebook page or on Twitter using the hashtag MyNews3 this morning. We'll share our favorites right here on News 3 this morning. Well, there's more news ahead all day long here on News 3 tonight at 6 and 10. It's a weekend of cleaning up and drying out for people across Sauk County. The latest on their recovery efforts and how you can help. But first, finding healing by the water. Here in Wisconsin, we understand the joy and sense of calm that can come from a day spent out on the lake. Next, the program introducing wounded veterans to that type of therapy when News 3 this morning returns. back. A day spent out on the water is a day well spent for many here in Madison, and that's the sentiment now shared by wounded veterans.
Adam Clements has the story behind the project, Healing Waters.
There's just some kind of therapy about being on the water that just is really a unique psychological process.
That's the idea behind Project Healing Waters. Wounded veterans coming together to fly fish.
It's like when you take a walk in the woods, you know, and you just feel this calmness come over you, or when you're sitting on the beach and listen to the water roll up on the waves. There's a serenity to it.
It's just an experience you don't normally get.
Skeeter Williams spent 11 months in the hospital after suffering a traumatic head injury in Vietnam. While he can't remember exactly how he was wounded, he says it still keeps him up at night.
It bothers me, and I go to VA for help on that and stuff too, and they say I'm probably lucky I don't remember.
For Skeeter, Project Healing Waters provides the perfect escape from the nightmare that still haunts him.
Not trying to be too dramatic, but it's kind of like life-saving. It's a time where you can kind of just go out and relax. You're with fellow veterans. You don't have to. There's an unspoken communication there that you just have, and the volunteers are unbelievable.
While fly fishing brings this group of veterans together, it's the camaraderie that keeps them coming back.
I enjoy the incredible instruction that we're getting, and I am by means not very proficient, but I find it very relaxing and very still, and I enjoy, you know, the company of all the guys that come and do the fly fishing, and also a few of the women too.
Therapeutic would be a good word for it. Yes, it's very therapeutic for me. Yeah, I look forward to it and I enjoy it, and yeah.
While the pain of suffering in battle may never go away, for these veterans, this therapy on the water goes a long way in their recovery.
It's just really a great group. I mean, they've helped me a lot.
Well, beautiful weather in that video, and probably a pretty beautiful day here too.
That's right. We have some cloud cover out there. It's starting to thin out just a little bit. We'll see just how much we can thin it out going into the afternoon. Otherwise, we are expecting those temperatures to top out right around 69 degrees. For those highs today, with enough sunshine, some folks will see low 70s, but with clear skies, it'll be a cool night. A lot of folks will fall into the 40s for the first time in a while here in Madison. We're expecting a low near 49 degrees. It almost feels polar compared to the heat we saw this summer.
I see what you're doing there as we take the polar bear cam at the Violet Zoo. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.